look at verse 9, right? It says the woman was surprised. Why? It said because the Jews refused to have anything to do with the Samaritans. She was surprised because the Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. Now, this is important. The reason why is because the Samaritans were people who were a mixed breed or were mixed with Jewish people and with foreign colonists, right? That came in. So they weren't purebred Jews. They weren't what we would call purebred Jews, right? In our terms, they weren't the ones who grew up in church. Right? They weren't the ones that, their daddy went to church, their mama went to church, they had their grandma that was always praying. They didn't have that, right? They knew that God was real. They knew that God was someone to be worshiped. They knew all of that. But however, they weren't the ones that were associated with all the religious rhetoric. Amen? And it says here that the Jews, mind you, this is important now. The Jews refused to have anything to do with the Samaritans. It didn't say the Samaritans didn't have anything to do with the Jews. It said that the Jews didn't want to have anything to do with the Samaritans. Now, isn't it funny that the very people who are supposed to be displaying God's love are the ones rejecting his people? Because remember, the Jews were the ones that were the steward of a covenant. They were the steward of the word, right? They was the ones that were supposed to expose God's glory in the earth. But when the opportunity came to accept people who wanted to be engrafted into the covenant, rather than accept them and love them into the kingdom, they rejected them. Isn't that ironic that the very people who's supposed to welcome you into the kingdom are the very ones that's acting as gatekeepers and keeping you out? Because you don't have it all together? Because you don't know all the religious songs, because you don't know all the great scriptures, all the thematic scriptures, because you don't have the look of the church, you cannot come in. Isn't that funny how we found ourselves in a day and age where people don't want to come to church because they feel like they don't look like the church, they don't act like the church, and therefore they don't want to be around the church. Because they feel like they're going to be rejected. They feel like they're going to be shunned. They feel like they're going to be talked about in the church. Isn't that funny? How many people ever heard someone say, I can't come to church because I don't have church clothes? Church clothes section. Amen. But because of religion, because of tradition, it's been commonly accepted that unless you have a nice suit, unless you have a nice dress, unless your nails are done, your feet are done, your hair is done, you can't come to church. Amen. Amen. And therefore we are rejected as a body, not just the gate, but as a body, as of a whole. We're rejecting people by our persona of perfection, like we have it all together. We're rejecting people because we're making them feel like they can never be where we're at, when in all actuality, we have it just as hard as they do. We're just not admitting it. We're just not telling the truth and saying, you know what, I have an issue in this area. I have an issue in that area. I have a problem when this happens. I have a problem when that happens. We're not telling the truth. And because we're not willing to tell the truth, we're the ones rejecting the world from coming in. We're the ones that's keeping them at the door and saying, you know what, I want God, but I don't want church. I want to be saved, but I don't like the church thing. So I'd rather just stay at home and have a relationship with God for myself because I don't want to do the church thing. I don't want to play the game, play the role of being perfect. Because to be honest with you, man, the people on the street, they want something real. They want something where they can say, you know what? I can be real here. I can be myself here. And I don't have to put on a mask. People are tired of that now. It was good for a while, but after a while, that wear off. That whole mask thing, the whole look of being glorious and glamorous, it don't mean nothing when your house is jacked up. So we have to learn how to be real. We have to learn how to be transparent and say, you know what? This is my problem. This is my issue. I struggle with this. I struggle with that. But I know a God who can help you with your struggle because he helps you with mine. Now, isn't that a better testimony than to act like I have it all together?